pure experiences.
Welcome to the Pure Experiences Podcasts.
Our main goal here is to get knowledge. Usually when we start on the path of knowledge, we don't have any clue how to do that. And usually we are initiated into this path by a guru. And he is the source of knowledge for most of us. We are indoctrinated into a specific kind of behavior starting from our childhood, which is to trust, to believe blindly anybody who is giving you knowledge, especially your teachers. In the schools, you were never taught to distrust the teacher. I can guarantee you this. You believed all your teachers, each and every word they said, completely, totally, unquestionably. It was taken as an obvious truth. So if the teacher said elephants are found in Africa, you never questioned it again. You never wondered about it. And we carry this kind of conditioning with us that the figures of authority, they always speak truth, no matter what. The ignorance or the darkness in the minds because of this conditioning is so deep that many of you must be shocked to hear this. Probably you are hearing this for the first time, that you behaved like this and you still behave like this. Especially on the path of knowledge or on any spiritual path, this kind of conditioning continues. And whatever the Guru says is taken as truth, nothing but truth. We do not doubt our teachers. Even if that person is not our teacher, he is somebody great, some big master, probably long dead master. We automatically assume that whatever he has said is true. This is just a defect in our minds. This is just conditioning, programming. Now, many of you will think that who else is going to say the truth if not the teachers and gurus and the figures, the authorities, the esteemed, well-respected, learned people? If they don't say the truth, then who else will say it? Obviously not a politician, not your leader, not the military, or not your bank manager. They are opposites of teachers. And this is again just conditioning. Because you do not know any other source of truth. You do not know any other source of knowledge. You were never given the sources. You were given teachings. You were told to parrot whatever these truth sayers are saying. So this question is also obvious that it comes out of conditioning. Is there anything really original? Anything that we can call intelligent in an average human mind? Is there anything? Isn't it all conditioning? Now there can be another question which is more intelligent, which says that there is a reason that we trust our teachers. Most of the time they are right, and they are our initial source of knowledge. So there is no other way but to listen to them. If you don't listen to them, well, there is no other way to know. You won't even know that you don't know. Now, this is a very reasonable thing to say. What we do is we give a benefit of doubt that the authority or the guru or the teacher is right. And most of the people will stop here. Probably he is right. He's a great person. He is so respected. He is 3,000 years old. So obviously must be saying something true. Otherwise the teaching won't survive this long. So many people believe in it. So we look for the circumstantial evidence because we have no way to find direct evidence. And probably we are too lazy to find that. Probably most of us, they don't care. Okay, the capital of this country is this. Now you must memorize this if you want to pass in the exams. Or this multiplied by this equals to this. The square root of this is that. And you know these little things, truths, not as truths, but as a strategy to come out of this hell that you call schools. That is your ticket out of that places of torture that your mind must tolerate for 12 years, 15 years, 20 years, whatever. When you remain in such kind of environment for so long, then obviously the mind dies, the intelligence dies, the curiosity dies. Brain dead is the right word for an educated person. Knows too much, does not know how to know. Memorized so much, found nothing of his own. So most of us, it is kind of survival strategy to simply accept that which somebody bigger in size is saying. You know what I mean? You are trapped in the school, you are trapped in the society. Better obey. Otherwise, they are going to make your life very, very miserable. You won't get a job, you won't get the food, you won't get married. You won't have any respect in the society. You can't leave the society, you will die. Or that life will be very, very boring and miserable. What else can you do but to accept the system that you are in? What a hopeless situation. What kind of dark pit that the humans have created for themselves. Is the illiterate person any different from these survival machines, so-called educated people? So some people may say, what are you saying? We should not believe our teachers, we should not believe the guru, we should not have any faith on the teachings. Is that your point? Now you make it a little bit tricky. It's now difficult for me to answer because there is no other option, isn't it? You must take the teaching at its face value. When you're facing the teacher, is there another option? Can you argue with the teacher? The teacher will kick you out. Good luck with that. Nobody likes to be argued with, especially somebody who knows. It's very irritating. It's my personal experience actually. And therefore, I learned this, not to argue with the teacher. Accept provisionally at least. This situation is not going to come for many people. They accept because that is what their conditioning is. Some may go ahead and act on the teaching. That is what spiritual teaching is meant for. It is not just entertainment. It is not for fun. It's not going to give you any jobs, don't worry. It is required. It is necessary to act, to decide on how should I act on many issues. Otherwise, if you don't need to act, then what is the use of the knowledge? The knowledge is that which changes the being. If it does not, then who cares? The Jupiter has 80 satellites. Did this change your life in any meaningful way? But you must get this so-called knowledge in quotes if you want to pass your astronomy exam, you want to clear your physics paper, whatever they call it. For 90%, this is the only need. For the remaining 10%, it is amusing. Oh, 80 satellites. Must be amazing place. There are now 80 ways to be lunatic on Jupiter. Really amazing. So we do not argue. That is not the solution. We accept. There must be a good reason you ask the question. There must be a good reason you are sitting with the teacher. So why waste that valuable opportunity, that time, that favor that teacher is doing you by telling you something in arguments? So I have learned this through my own experience, and I have both sides of the experience. As a student, I argued, and it was a disaster. As a teacher, I faced those who want to argue, don't want to listen to me, and it is a lot of irritation. So the conclusion is, no, we need to accept whatever the teachers are saying. There is a good reason that the society tells you to simply accept, to blindly believe. These are all practical things. So I am not going to say anything. It is your wish, I can say. Free will. Believe, don't believe. It's up to you. Usually the first teacher wins. If the first teacher told you that the earth is flat, then for your whole life it is flat. Then whoever says it is something else, round or like a potato or like a banana, you are going to simply discard it. This is another tendency of the mind. Once it forms a belief, especially the blind belief, not well thought, so-called knowledge, it cannot let go of it. A belief is what? It looks like knowledge, isn't it? Why would you hold something which somebody says is a lie? Are you going to hold that? No. Somebody tells you that it's a fact, it's truth, and then the mind holds it. Then no matter what, you're not going to let it go. Your country is the biggest and the best. Your race is superior. Didn't they tell you? Now can you accept anything else? No. There are opposite cases also, that let us say a country is ruled by some other people, foreigners, and they brainwash that country, the original people in that country, into thinking that your country is poor, your country is garbage, your country is mentally retarded, you are lowly of the lowliest, you are worth nothing, you're worthy of being slaves. And if they do it for 200 years, you get a country that is a perfect slave. That's what people believe. So as soon as they get educated, the first thing to do is leave the country. There is no patriotism. There is no respect for the country. They keep it dirty and poor as they were told. Those who are cunning, those who are smart, they know how the mind works. They exploit the mind like this. Fortunately, that does not happen a lot. And it's a matter of time that people wake up, come out of the lies. There are cases when it is not so important to believe anything specifically, and that knowledge stays. Nobody challenges that knowledge. It will stay. So the religious beliefs come in this category. History comes in this category. Once you are told a specific kind of history, you are going to believe it no matter what. If the new evidence comes up, simply reject it. No, we were told this is the history, and that is the history, full stop. That will remind you of your father, mother or grandfather. they think like this. It is not their fault. Brain dead. The blind is leading the blind, so everybody falls in the pit. So we saw two main defects in the mind, that usually knowledge is not its concern. So beliefs are whatever gets the organism through the world. That is what is stored in the mind. You think mind is something, it's a very accurate and intelligent thing. No, it is exactly opposite. And the second is, once a belief takes hold of the mind, the first teacher, remember, you cannot let it go. And then it will conflict with whatever comes in, because it was blindly placed. It is like your first girlfriend. She refuses to go away. The first impression is very strong impression. It is the biggest impression that decides whether the child is going to grow up as a criminal or as a good citizen, law-abiding fellow. First few years of the life. We think mind is very sophisticated, very complex. Is a result of millions of years of evolution, this intelligence that we have. But if you ask me, it is worth throwing in garbage. It is paradoxical, because you see, that is the most advanced thing in the universe, the visible universe. And I say it is worth throwing in the garbage. Because it is a programmable device, you see. It depends on how you program it. That is all it is. It can become a pile of junk, or it can be something useful, marvelous, amazing. It depends on how we use it. Inherently, the mind has nothing special. Inherently, there are no mechanisms there to check the truth. Inherently, there is nothing to get the right kind of knowledge. That is unfortunate. That is what I've learned about the mind. It has raw mechanisms, not the right mechanisms. A lot of difference, isn't it? A computer is a very good metaphor for the mind. It executes the virus as efficiently and quickly as it does any useful program. This is how it is. This is how the mind is. So I come to the point, which is there is a need to place a mechanism there which produces the right kind of knowledge. What is the right kind of knowledge? The knowledge that leads us to the truth. What is truth? That which is self-evident is the truth. It is amazing that we need a definition of the truth. And in this universe, in this illusory universe, whatever universe you have, it is left to the mind to decide what is true, what is not. It is a dual thing. It lies in the domain of duality. There are true things, there are false things. That which is non-dual. There is nothing is true and nothing is false there. You cannot evaluate the existence in terms of true and false. But knowledge, yes. We are looking for a specific kind of knowledge, and that is self-evident. What can be self-evident? Obviously, that which can be directly experienced, that is in that which is in front of me right now, right here, is self-evident. And therefore, on the path of knowledge, the first means of knowledge is direct experience, approach anubhav. Nothing beats it. Nothing at all. Not a guru, not a book, not your society and parents. Direct experience. When I heard this, I found the key. I've used this key to come out of this pit of conditioning. This is so important, you see. Think about it. There is only one way to know, and that is your own experience. Not the school, not the college, not the authorities, not your religious and political leaders, not your doctor, not your lawyer, not your bank, not the company trying to sell their cheap products to you. What do we believe? We believe exactly the opposite of this. We ignore that is self-evident, that is in front of us, and we take which the others have given us. What kind of mind is that? What kind of society is that? What kind of age we are living in? Are we humans? Are we the most intelligent and rational animal on this planet? The mind will do exactly that which is needed for the survival. So why do we tend to simply accept what your leaders are saying? The alpha male, whatever he says is true. That is what has kept us alive since millions of years. There is a mechanism in the mind that cannot resist. If a very powerful or a beautiful person says something, beauty is just a survival advantage, isn't it? Same thing said by a weak and ugly person, nobody pays attention to. Disregard it completely. So the mind does very, very logical thing. What is logical thing for it? To survive. That's what I said. But the mind has a raw mechanism, and everything is geared towards survival. Not towards truth, not towards knowledge, not towards evidence. Survival only. As a homework, you can do this exercise, find out the truth of this statement. The mind needs to be trained to look into that which is self-evident, look into the direct experience, and to overlook the conditioning, the genetic programming or the social programming. We need to kick it out when we are after truth. This is very important. I don't think any guru says it. The guru also expects that you will listen to what he is saying and go home, practice. If you have a little bit of light in you, you ask a question, sir, please tell me why this is true. And the guru gets irritated. He may not show it because of politeness, compassion and love. But he's thinking, oh no, stupid Students, why do I always get stupid students? Most of the people, they won't ask the question because they're afraid of being called stupid. Oh, he did not understand, that's why he is asking. Or some may find it's very, very impolite to interrupt the teacher because he is talking since half an hour and he has a train of thought and he's saying some very awesome things. And they don't want to interrupt him. The question comes and goes. When the Q&A hour starts, well, the mind is already saturated with the talk. It has so many things to process. The question comes later, and you see, if it is not connected to survival, then it is forgotten. Mind knows nothing except survival. You will find a lot of spiritual teaching is coated with fluff that sounds like survival to the mind. Oh, do this because this will take you to heaven. It's a good place. A lot of food and mates there in the heaven. That grabs the attention of the mind. It tries to know what the Guru is saying now. Gets the attention immediately. Oh, if you know this, it will get rid of the suffering. Now, you have my attention, isn't it? If I say emptiness, non-duality, blah, 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 does nothing. It offers nothing to the mind. Actually, it becomes instantly afraid. Emptiness, darkness, nothingness, death. Guru is saying, I am that, and runs away from the satsang. So this happened in India, that many of the teachings, they were sugar-coated to trap the mind, to exploit the evolutionary survival mechanisms of the mind. Look what has happened to those teachings. The message is gone now. Only the sugar coating remains like a coconut. Only shell remains. The meat is gone. All the paths except the path of knowledge is like this hollow. Even the teachers do not know what they are teaching. That is my experience. So at least on the path of knowledge, the teacher is always pointing to the direct experience, is not teaching you anything. That is the ideal kind of teaching. All teachings are pointings, not the truth, not the knowledge. Guru is not serving you the knowledge. He is pointing to that which is self-evident, that which is your direct experience. If the Guru tells you stories, you get nothing except the stories. You accept it just like you accepted all the stories that were told to you in the school, by the society, by the newspaper, by the TV. You grow exactly by zero amount. The pile of junk that you call knowledge grows by 1,000 times. So a satsang in which the pointing is not done, only preaching happens, is actually worse than staying ignorant. You get more conditioning, that's all. This can sound a little bit harsh, but the Jnani is not worried about manners and does not sugarcoat. This is how it is. This is my direct experience. That is what I put before you. The question still remains, what if I have this kind of teacher? And don't worry, there is a solution. The teacher is limited by many, many things. Only a human, isn't it? Same mind as you and me cannot always do very sharp pointings, cannot always bring you to the experience, direct experience of each and everything. And unfortunately, there are things which can be simply told. The experience cannot be produced of those things. Specifically, the knowledge that concerns the illusion, the Maya. The Guru is helpless there because the experience cannot be produced on demand. The pointed in air is there is no reference for the student. A student cannot look. But nothing to worry, there are solutions for that also. So yes, it is a very good thing to do, to simply accept what the Guru is telling. Do not worry about the direct experience. Or even if you get the experience, which means that you see it as your own experience right now, right here, you are not going to get anything new, you see. That which is right now, right here is that which is being pointed at. So if you get it, if you have a question, it is okay, it is fine, it is okay to accept. But it's not okay to never ask that question. A real guru is actually waiting for that kind of student who gets the experience, whose attention can be drawn to the direct experience, and then instead of blindly accepting the teaching or the experience, the student gets up and questions it. Not while the guru is delivering the lecture. That is kind of rude. It is bad manners. When he says, now you can ask me, and that is the proper time. Now I can understand people get very tired after 1 hour of listening to very concentrated teachings that usually happen on the path of knowledge. Very, very, very dry, intellectual and heavy words. So the mind may not want to go into the matter that time, but there is always the next day. Or there is sometimes only the Q&A sessions where there is nothing to digest and fill your stomach to prevent you from eating more. It is you are hungry and you appear in the Q&A session. That is the right time. Sir, that day you told me this and this, I had this question, so I'm asking it now. That is the proper way. The only mistake one can do is never ask the question. Usually, if something is self-evident, the question should not appear. That which is right now, right here, destroys the question. If it appears, it must be asked. Should not take it on blind faith. On the path of knowledge, there is no blind faith. There are no authorities here. Your experience is your truth, and your experience makes you authority. If you experience the same thing that I experience, you are also the authority. If Guru has transmitted the experience to you, you are equal to the Guru. There are some Gurus who will never say that I am the Guru. They will say, I am just a friend. My job is to point out what I see. If you see, it's okay. Say thank you, no more than that. You don't need to touch my feet. Don't need to give me titles. This is India, we do all these things anyway. So a guru is a guru only as long as he has not shown you. After that, there is no difference between the guru and student. I just jokingly said that you are the authority, and it's garbage. It is that the authority and the non-authority both disappear. So that's why it looks like equality, it looks like friendship. If you know what I know, then see, we stand on the equal ground. Nobody is student, nobody is teacher. Don't make the mistake of telling that to your school teacher. They don't like it. They want to keep their title of authority there, professor. And it will be like kind of stupid to say that in a non-Advait setting, that I'm equal to the professor because I know whatever he has taught me. No, it's impossible, you see. You cannot become a professor by simply hearing his lecture. There is an experience of many, many years behind that professorship. So you can say that in the spiritual matters, we say that when the shoe of the father fits the foot of the son, and the son has become the family head already, he is equal to the father now in the rank, something like that. So a real guru will bring you to his level. He is not attached to the titles of guru, professor, swami, this or that. He is very pleased if you become equal to him or even greater than him. There is something interesting that happens on the path of knowledge, that once you teach the student how to fish, then the student is not going to ask you anything. He knows how to catch the fish now. This will never happen in any other tradition, not even in science. Direct experience, the evidence is such a great thing that it makes you independent of the guru. It makes you independent of the tradition, of the system, or whatever you have joined. Don't need to go to satsang. Don't need to open the big fat books, the Sanskrit text, half of which you don't understand. There is nowhere to look, nowhere to go, because you know how to catch the fish. And the way is direct experience. To look, that is all the teacher will teach you. We are grateful for only this. This is the biggest thing. I am not even saying that, you see, truth is the biggest thing. It is all rubbish. There is no such thing as truth. Knowledge is the biggest thing. No, it is not the biggest thing. There is no such thing as knowledge. You will be left with this unknowing if you have the direct experience. Nothing is as important as looking directly, looking without conditioning, questioning, and looking for an answer in your own experience. Nothing is bigger than that. The guru will not do anything more than that. If he is a real guru, he will produce that kind of experience. Once you know, then you will get addicted to this kind of knowing through direct experience. You will lose interest in all kinds of knowledge. You will be interested in only that which you can experience yourself, which is meaningful for you. I can tell you, this is so much joy. This is so much fun. This is true bliss to be present with the knowledge. You are the knowledge. You are the knower. The knowledge and the knower are one. That produces extreme bliss. Compare that with the torture that happened in the school and college and wherever you went. Is there any other way to know? How to know is the only knowledge that you will need from the guru. And that is the end of the guruship and studentship. You are equal to the guru now because you know. All the knowledge is on your fingertips now. What else a student wants on the path of knowledge? The trick to get all the knowledge. And this is the only trick there is. This is the only knowledge you need to know. This is the only requirement of a guru. The guru will bring you out of this dark pit of conditioning. You think you know a lot. That is what he is going to destroy. And he is going to give you the weapon, the tool to know. The weapon is your own experience. That is the only thing that you have. And that is the only thing that you need. Everything else is made up by the mind. Everything else is a program of this kind or that kind. Everything else is a lie. Now we get into a little bit of detail here. Can all the experience be true experience? And the question is obviously no. When you look at a mirage, for example, you see water in the desert. It's your direct experience. Is there water? So not so fast, you see. You may experience things and they may not be true because there are more layers of experiences that are lying behind it, below it, beyond it. So you see the water, you walk to the water, and if the water is not coming to you, if you don't reach it, it is always on the horizon. Then you know, well, something is wrong. Note that the experience is always true. It was an experience of a glimmering something. What was the ignorance? The assumption that it is water. So there is a layer on top of direct experience which the mind has put there because possibly it was very thirsty, so it cannot think of anything else except the water. So look, water, and you run after it. So you may need to clean up this layer of assumption that is on the top of the experience. It is a tricky thing now, you see. Many newcomers, they will say, yes, the experience, my experience, my truth. I see the world is truth. And look again, because your experience is truth, but world is not the truth. That is an assumption that there is a world. The experience is of colors and shapes and sounds and all. The subjective experience. This is the world. There are the objects. This is the objective reality. These things are made up by the mind. These are the assumptions. So you see, there is always something finer down there. The mind will always fool you. At least it will try to fool you in the beginning, because your tool is not sharp enough now. You're just starting it, just starting to use it. You're not a master of this art of inquiry or introspection, as I call it, or direct experience, getting the evidence. So you will fall few times. Don't worry. The Guru will pick you up. That's why I said you need to question again. Even if you think I have the experience, do not simply assume this is the true experience. You have the experience, that is fine. Now, instead of assuming that there is something that I am experiencing as it is, you need to put a question mark again. Question it. And you will always find, I'm using this word always very carefully, because sometimes you reach the truth directly. Sometimes it's very rare, but happens. And you will always find that there are some layers of ignorance on top of experience. Always. I better say always, because you will assume that, no, probably this time I'm getting the pure experience. There's nothing created by the mind. There's no sugarcoating on this bitter truth of emptiness. See, that's what is the test of direct experience, that you will always find emptiness. It is like I've leaked the question paper, isn't it? But you need to know it through your own direct experience. If you find a world, if you find a person, if you find a mind, or if you find a self, the Atman, the Brahman, if you find all these things, then it is safe to say that your mind has created some kind of story, some kind of illusion. If you find nothing, if you find emptiness, if you find that which cannot be known, probably that is the truth. That is something which is self-evident. The other things, who knows what they are? Stories created by your mind. That is what you find. When you look, and here we can add another means of knowledge, which is the logic, which is the induction, deduction, and all the logical methods, implications, inferences. Without logic, experience is lame, cannot walk. You have the experience of the world in front of you. You will know that it is emptiness only by utilizing logic. There's no other way to know it. Can you experience emptiness? It is impossible. You can only know there is emptiness. You cannot experience the emptiness. So you see, there is truth, there is experience. What are you experiencing? You are experiencing emptiness right now, right here. What do you assume? I'm experiencing the world, the mind, the person, the body. Which one are you going to accept? And the answer is that which is logical. Not only that which is self-evident, that which is logical. Because you can test the evidence only by logic. You cannot test the evidence by experience. So again, the example of the mirage. You see there is water. Probably it is water. 90% chance it is water. So you go and investigate. But always on the horizon. Experience is still the same. The mind is telling you the same thing. More experience is not going to solve it. You will keep running after the mirage and probably die in the desert. That is not a good solution. So you bring another tool. You evaluate the experience. Look, it was 20 kilometers away. 1 hour ago we started. It still looks like it's 20 kilometers away. It's probably not the water. This is logical. So experience alone does not solve everything, because there is always a layer of ignorance on top of the experience. We destroy that using logic. So we get the other means of knowledge that is recommended, that is accepted on the path of knowledge. That is the logic, the tark. Not only it must be your experience, it must fit the logic. It must pass the rigor of logic. Otherwise, your mind will fool you. My experience is I am here. There is a person here. You can say that is my experience, isn't it? Now, have you questioned it? Have you put a question mark on this experience? Like I said, keep questioning till you reach emptiness. Can you question the emptiness? Some people have done that. Nagarjuna is probably most famous, and he would say, no, there is no emptiness also. But you see, mind needs to stop somewhere, otherwise it will go mad. So we stop at emptiness. We say, oh, emptiness. Or we just make it very, very clear that you cannot know it. Now stop looking. So till you arrive there, you need to keep questioning. What is emptiness? It is inability of the mind to know further. It is the limit of the experience. You cannot say it is emptiness. You can only say, I don't know anything beyond this. And that's all is needed. The mind can go only this much. After that, the experience will leave you. That which is will be with you. And it cannot be known either by direct experience or by logic or by anything else. Don't even talk about the teachings, gurus, books, videos. And no. They are not the means of knowledge. The only tool you have is the direct experience and logic. And they will not take you to the truth. They will take you to emptiness. And nothing is true here. I don't want to discourage you from inquiry because it does not become your experience if you listen to me only. It has to be your own experience. Unfortunately, it's not going to take you more than a day to establish what I'm saying. I gave you the tools, the direct experience and logic. Question everything. Now we come back to the practical things, and the two more means of knowledge that are accepted traditionally are the guru, the teacher, and the books written by the gurus. I mean, who knows which guru, but it is called Shruti, that which was heard, and obviously the guru, the remover of the darkness. These two are mostly for practical purposes because the ignorance is so deep that an average human does not know how to use the direct experience and the logic. They do not know this. This need to be taught. What is the difference between a scientist and a science student? The science student knows a lot, never experiments, never questions. He can teach, he cannot invent, he cannot discover. A scientist knows nothing. He says, oh look, I don't know what is here. I need to experiment. I need to find out myself. What means does the scientist employ? Experimentation, observation, direct observation, evidence. How does he check the evidence? How does he check the readings? Logic. Mathematics is nothing but sophisticated logic only. And then he discovers something new, something worthwhile. Otherwise, he remains like a parrot of science, who can parrot whatever is written in the textbook. And that is also a very important part of the society because we call them professors, and they are required to create scientists. Otherwise, nobody will be there to teach us. Science is nothing. It is just path of knowledge applied to a specific problem, the problem of the illusion of the world. That is all it is, a narrow branch of the path of knowledge. So if you investigate, you can go through that branch. It is perfectly valid. Only that you should not assume anything. Keep questioning. And you will arrive that whatever you call as physical is mind, and whatever you call as mind is emptiness. you will arrive there if you keep questioning. If you are a textbook guru, then no hope, because the textbook is always true. No need to know more than that. So how to find the evidence? By demanding the evidence from the guru. No, I'm just joking. That is again a foolish thing to do. You demand the experience. You ask for the experience. The guru says, there is no person, and you say, but I see a person. It is my direct experience. Now provide me with an evidence that there is no person. The guru will do his best, but will not be able to provide any kind of evidence because the evidence is your own experience. What can the guru do? The poor fellow, he can only point to the experience. He will say, he will use some tricks, means. Like, investigate the reality of the person. Investigate that which remains while the person changes. Are you the same person? Investigate the impermanence of the thing that you think is a person. Or just, start describing the person. That usually works. I've seen this. If you ask the deluded student simply to describe whatever he thinks is true, you ask for a description. And because he has never done that, lazy mind, you see, as soon as he starts describing the fakeness of the concepts, it comes out. That which is created by the mind will be spoken, and the guru can catch him. Look, this thing that you are saying is an experience. It is not a person. So on. I'm just giving you some quick examples. Or if you say, sir, I see the world, I see the objects, then the guru may ask you to describe. What do you see? Oh, I see a chair, I see a bed, a table, my glasses. And the guru can ask you to describe the chair. It is red, it is of this shape, it is so and so, made up of so and so. And now the guru gets the opportunity to point out, look, they are just experiences made up by the mind. Names and forms. Is there a chair, or are there names and forms? Now, the logical ability of the student is of importance here. The student should be logically able to see that, well, my experience is of names and forms, not of chairs and tables. That names are added by the mind. Yes, it appeared like it was my direct experience, but no, the more direct experience is of the names and forms. You can go ahead and, conclude by questioning. You can describe the names and forms. The names will ultimately be seen as mental constructs. They are names. That is very obvious. The forms are also seen as mental constructs, an outcome of the hardware of the mind, the body, the senses, the way the senses function, the way the body functions, the way the brain organizes information. So now the guru can say, is there this form, or is there something which appears in this form? Now, you see, for the first time in your life, you will see the emptiness. This is the direct experience. What you thought was your direct experience was a mental construct. It was an assumption. You said it was my direct experience, but it was not your direct experience. Do you see what I mean? Yes, the direct experience will provide you the truth, but you need to be very careful. You need to interpret the direct experience. You should have that capability to interpret the experience. Otherwise, you'll end up seeing the mirage as water and goes nowhere, isn't it? Your mind will call anything as your direct experience. And here the skill of the guru is needed, you see. Guru is needed. You cannot escape the guru. That's why he is placed at the third place as a means of arriving at knowledge. What kind of knowledge? The true knowledge, the truth. So if you do not ask your guru that, sir, this is my direct experience, please evaluate this. If you do not say, if you do not ask, the guru will simply assume that you got it. And the guru will do his own, business, will be busy with other students. You will go home happy that finally I got my direct experience. I am the self now. I am the Atman. I am the Brahman. That is too quick. All these teachings, they exist for a specific purpose, you see. When I say, you are in charge of your destiny, choose that which leads you to greater and greater happiness and freedom. Wow, what a great teaching, you see. Probably I deserve a slap on my face for saying this. It is complete garbage. There is no you, there is no destiny. Nobody is in charge. Nobody can choose anything. The happiness, freedom, they are all illusions. But what do I say? I say this as if it is true. Why do I do that? You see, when you are when you are completely immersed in the gutter, you need to climb at least one step out of that. You need to poke your head out of the manhole at least. And these teachings are designed to do that. They are not true. Only your direct experience is the truth. You will say, no, but you are right, my friend. You have showed me the way. You have given me the path of happiness and freedom. This is my direct experience. When I choose such and such actions, I get more happiness and more freedom. And yes, that is the purpose of my life now. It looks like that it is your direct experience, isn't it? There is someone who is choosing, someone who is looking for happiness and freedom and is getting it because of the recommended method. But it's too quick, too soon. You did not check the teaching. You did not question it. And there is a little bit of twist here, because if you question it too soon, probably you will never know what it is like to be happy and free. The Guru has told you these things so that you can experience it first. Once you experienced it, you are a little bit above the manhole, and now you can be pulled out of it step by step. That's why I said in this country, many of the direct teachings were sugar-coated. The bitter pills, they are coated with colorful candies. And people like them. Have you noticed? Nobody likes the direct teachings of Zen or Mahayana Buddhism. There's nobody. The world is misery. It is emptiness. It is all mind. Nobody likes these things. The nirvana is complete disappearance. And people prefer something else. And that's why the Advaita was invented. You are the self. You are the Brahman. As soon as I say, well, it gives you a good, warm, fuzzy feeling. Oh, I'm everything now. I always thought I'm just this little person, this pile of organic matter running around after this or that. Now it feels great. Instantly like it. People like that way teaching. Everybody is a fan of I am the self. Aham Brahmasmi. The great one that I am. Have you experienced that? Or you accept it just because it sounds so nice? Can there be a bigger ego inflation than this, where the ego assumes that it is everything? It is the biggest, it is the greatest. But the Guru will do that. This is highly recommended on the Advaita path, non-dual, that the student must be taken through the steps of self and Brahman. And sometimes the final step, of there being nothing is eliminated. You never hear this thing in the Advaita that is generally accepted, which is of Shankaracharya and company. You will know this even deeper thing, the final step, when you read masters like Avadhut in the Avadhut Gita. He will also say that you are the self, but while describing what is self, he will actually destroy the self completely. It is done in a non-threatening manner, in form of beautiful poetry, so that you don't, get terrified of what he is saying. Unlike Gautam Buddha or Bodhidharma or Nagarjuna, who simply cut off your head, isn't it? So who is the proper receiver of the evidence? Obviously the student who wants to know. The Guru needs no evidence. Who can give you the evidence? Not the Guru. You yourself. Get your own evidence. I keep repeating all the time. Why do we demand evidence from others? It's a great question, isn't it? Again, you can dig the answer to it, and I found that this is also conditioning. This is also some kind of stupid behavior that we are taught. Somebody says, you stole the cookies from the cookie jar. What do I say? You don't have any evidence for that. Show me the evidence that I did that. You're accusing me of being a thief. Show me the evidence. Where do we get this kind of behavior from? From the society, from our own brothers, sisters, and friends, and parents, siblings, because we found them doing this kind of thing. Take a look at the innocent child, infant, never demands evidence. Never demands evidence. He is still pure. If you accuse him of something, you can experiment like this. Did you steal this? Did you break this thing? Did you break this toy? And he will just stand there in pure amusement, shocked. How can he say that? Because the mind is, confronting the reality and the accusation now, comparing it. And the child has no way to answer anything. He will say no at most. The child is defenseless. Because later on we learn, you are saying this, what is the evidence? My PC is very fast and it can run this and that program. Show me the evidence. I don't believe you. So this courtroom mentality people they use in satsang also. And unfortunately, this is just another conditioning. Show me the evidence. Man, if your own experience is the source of knowledge, where are you going to get the evidence? If not in your own experience, tell me. How foolish it is to ask for an evidence, and that too from a guru. Never do that. You can say it, other words, you can say like this, sir, I tried to find evidence, I could not find it, please guide me. That is the proper way. Oh, you told me about the past lives, now show me the evidence. Get your own evidence, man. You are a seeker or a beggar. Are you begging for knowledge? Are you begging for evidences? What if the evidence is produced? On what basis are you going to accept the evidence? Are you self-appointed judge of the court of reality? What kind of seeker is that? Demanding evidence, and I reserve the right to accept or reject the evidence that you provide to me. Now, this is the stupidity of the highest kind. And you can now recall so many hundreds of your experiences where you said something and people demanded an evidence. I don't blame you if you actually went ahead and tried to provide an evidence, because you are so innocent, you don't know all these things. You don't know that evidence is a social programming. Nothing can be proven. It is not possible to prove anything at all. If you don't believe me, I give you this homework. Do your own experiment. Get your own evidence to see that nothing can be proven. Because totally depends on the whim of the person who is asking the evidence to accept your evidence. You cannot force anybody to accept your evidence. Those who don't want to experience, those who don't want to experiment for themselves, they are not going to accept any evidence. So, if you are demanding the evidence for a spiritual truth or something like that, you are a fool. But if you are trying to provide the evidence, you are a bigger fool. No, I'm not saying that the person who is demanding the evidence will be kind of a hardcore skeptic who has made up his mind and now he is simply, playing the word game just to win the debate. You see that this, prove this and prove that, give me the evidence. These kind of statements, they happen only when you are in a debate or in an argument, which is by itself a very bad situation. What are you doing in an argument? With whom are you debating? This is spiritual field. This is not a courtroom. This is not a matter of who is right, who is wrong. If you think it is like this, that I am the right and I must prove it to everyone, then you are already lost. You are not on the right path. You are lost in the social conditioning, my friend. Get out of there. The job of a seeker is to look for knowledge, to get his own evidence. And the job of a seeker is to guide others to get their own evidences, not to provide them with an evidence. Yes, that's what I was saying, that sometimes this is only a matter of language. The person is sincerely asking you that, I don't know what you are saying, I have no idea. And just to express this thing, this confusion of theirs, they sometimes say, okay, give me the evidence. So you will need to see it like this sometimes. They are very sincere. They are innocently asking, but they are using the wrong language. Instead of saying, please guide me to see it myself, they demand evidence, because that is what is their mentality. That is what the conditioning is like. Everywhere they go, they ask for an evidence. They come to the spiritual settings, then they demand evidence of everything here also. Because you see, it looks like that the guru is speaking in air, airy fairy talk. Where is the evidence of what you said? They will hit the table with their fist like this. Show me the evidence. So sometimes you will need to make a concession here and take it as a request to show the experience, show the experience. And here, it is your duty to guide that fellow to get his or her own evidence. If you try to provide something objective, some logical mumbo-jumbo, then there is a 50-50 chance that it will be effective. And as I said, the mind is kind of garbage bin already. It will reject the best evidence that you can give. That is why the skeptic will remain a skeptic. You cannot convert them. You can convert only an open-minded, rational person, not a closed-minded skeptic. How to convert? Not by preaching, by guiding towards proper evidence. What is the proper evidence? My own experience, their own experience. Can you provide somebody with an experience? Impossible. Experience is subjective. They need to get it themselves. All you can do is point them, provide the pointers, give them all the tricks. See, you are saying something which must be based on your own direct experience, and you must have arrived at that truth by some way, must have found a way to experience it. You will need to convey the same method to the person demanding the evidence. There is no other way, can't you see? It's all waste of time. It's all argument. More heat than light. Shine the light. That's all. That's all we can do. So to all those people who want an evidence, get your evidence. A seeker does not demand an evidence. A seeker asks for a way to obtain his own evidence. Look at it like this, that a seeker is like a spy, a private detective, and a skeptic is just like a judge. He is arbitrating, you see, arbitrary. He can accept the evidence or he can reject the evidence. He does not worry about actual experience. He does not even go on the crime scene, simply hears, and his only job is to give a judgment. There are many people like this whose job is to judge. Oh, he is telling the truth, he is telling the false. They are on the position of the judge. A seeker is like a detective. He goes and finds the evidence. Now, unlike the detective, you are not responsible towards the judge. If you can say to the judge that I have found whatever, whoever is the criminal, whoever is the murderer, it's not my job to tell you. You go and get your own evidence. You can say like this. So you will find many gurus do that. They get irritated when you demand an evidence, and many will tell you. Many will actually, out of their compassion, will try to give you some kind of evidence, some kind of logical argument here and there. But most of them will simply kick you out. Go and get your own evidence. I did that for myself. Seek. You are a seeker. It means that you seek. Seekers do not demand an evidence. Does it say in the Vedas that the fifth means of knowledge is evidence provided by the others? Does it say it anywhere? There is a good reason that it's not included. What constitutes an evidence? Can you tell me? Isn't it totally subjective? Isn't it arbitrary? For some people, this much evidence is okay. For some, no. They demand more evidence. You must have seen all those people demanding evidence where only direct experience is of any use. The evidence no matter in which form it is produced, is useless. It can always be proven wrong. What cannot be proven wrong is your own evidence. If you see it with your own eyes, no evidence is needed. A seeker goes and sees, looks, checks, does not demand some kind of arbitrary, made up evidence. Nothing can be proven. Look at it very deeply. Seeking is a subjective matter. Your path is your own personal business. Nobody can prove anything to you. You cannot prove anything to anyone. You are not obliged to prove anything. Because of these reasons that I said, it does not work. What works is pointing, and if the person who is demanding the evidence is interested, is really seeker material, he will go and look for his own evidence. That is guaranteed. If the person is just messing around, goofing around, wants to win a debate, wants to show I'm the smart one, you are the fool, they are not going to do the effort. That is also guaranteed. Many times it happens that people ask me a question and I send them on quest. Okay, investigate this for 1 week. Come back and tell me what you find. They never appear. they never come back. There can be two reasons: that they found something and that they don't feel any need to approach me again, or they never try. A lazy mind is not going to seek. A lazy mind not going to find their own evidence. A lazy mind is in a courtroom. Ashram is not a courtroom. Don't make your mind into a courtroom. Don't go for evidence. Go for experience. The direct experience. There is no other way to know.
Pure experiences.
You were listening to Pure Experiences by Tharun Pradhan.